I commit myself to serve you all, King, country, and Commonwealth. God save the King.
In this purpose, I know that I shall be upheld by the affection and loyalty of the peoples whose sovereign I have been called upon to be.
So, let's be honest. We've all witnessed royal drama before, but this time, it's different. This one involves the children, and when kids get pulled into royal politics, things hit a whole new level of seriousness. According to whispers from inside the palace, what was meant to be a peaceful family gathering at Windsor took an unexpected turn. King Charles had hoped to bring all his grandchildren together, both William and Harry's kids, along with Camilla's from her side. On paper, it sounded heartwarming, but things quickly turned sour. At first, the day unfolded like a royal postcard, adults sipping tea while catching up with royal tales, children laughing and playing in the garden. But things shifted when Prince George ended up in the same football group as Camilla's eldest grandson. That's when the mood soured. And this isn't just some headline rumor.
You know, it's nice that people want to see George, so, I'm just glad he wasn't screaming his head off the whole way through.
Multiple palace sources confirmed what happened next, and it isn't what many expected. George became the target of sharp personal teasing. This wasn't typical playground banter, it turned cruel. The jabs went beyond his role as the future king. It turns out, his playmate even made cutting remarks about his late grandmother, Princess Diana.
I made many friends who I often see, and in spite of what Miss Budge and my other teachers may have thought at the time, I did actually learn something.
Now, think about that for a moment. For a child to say something that specific, it raised serious red flags. Witnesses said the comments felt rehearsed, like they had already been told before at home. George, usually calm and poised in public, quietly left the game. Palace aides quickly stepped in, ushering him away without causing a scene. But when his mother, Princess Kate, saw her son later, she immediately knew something wasn't right. And that's when everything shifted. Because behind closed doors, Prince William didn't respond as the heir to the throne. He responded as a father. It wasn't exactly a playground scuffle, but let's just say this is not the kind of royal playdate you'll find in the palace press releases. We're not saying this happened exactly like this, but if it did, would you honestly be surprised? So what really happened behind closed doors? Why would William reclaim a royal honor? And how could a family feud between step-grandchildren quietly shake the royal order? Stick around, because the crowns might look polished, but trust me, behind them, the drama is very real. So here's where it gets interesting. For years, the royal family has tried to keep things, well, dignified. Polished smiles, staged photo ops, the occasional horse parade. It's all part of the royal brand. But behind those palace curtains, the family dynamics are just as complicated and sometimes just as petty as anyone else's. Let's break it down real quick. You see, when King Charles officially crowned Camilla as queen consort, there were quiet arrangements made behind the scenes. Not just about titles, but about honors. The sort of things you don't always hear about in public. One of those was the Royal Family Order, a special ribbon-like decoration traditionally given to female royals for their service and loyalty to the crown. But here's the twist. Camilla, in her new role as queen, reportedly started handing out family honors of her own.
I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there.
And according to palace whispers, again, this is the kind of gossip that doesn't make it into official statements, but always makes it into the royal circles. Camilla wanted her side of the family to be part of the royal picture too. Enter her grandson, Freddie Parker Bowles. Now, Freddie isn't technically a royal. He's not in line for the throne, he doesn't do royal tours, and he's definitely not cutting ribbons at hospitals. But thanks to Grandma Camilla's influence, he's been quietly given access to certain royal privileges. Some say even ceremonial roles that until recently were supposed to be reserved for blood royals. And that's where the tension really started. Because Prince William, he noticed, especially when it came to his son, Prince George. According to insiders, there's been this low-key competition brewing between Camilla's side of the family and the direct heirs to the throne. Friendly on the surface, but underneath, yeah, not so friendly. Apparently, during one of these private royal family gatherings, you know, the kind where everyone wears polite smiles, but their eyes are saying, "Don't you dare take the last scone," there was a bit of an incident. Camilla's grandson and little Prince George reportedly had a spat. What over? No one knows for sure. Maybe it was over royal protocol. Maybe it was over who got to ride the royal pony first. Or maybe George was just being 7 years old, and Freddie forgot he wasn't. Either way, it left William with a choice. Do nothing and let this blended family experiment continue, or quietly remind everyone who's actually next in line for the throne and who isn't. Spoiler alert, William chose option 2.
I think more shock and dauntingness was more of the feeling I felt. But it was, the thing is, it's, I think I was on such a high anyway, and so was Catherine, about George, that...
Reports say he's now taken back certain royal honors that had drifted into Camilla's circle, including ceremonial roles that were, let's be honest, never really supposed to leave the Windsor bloodline in the first place. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it necessary? Well, according to William, absolutely. Because when you're raising the next King of England, you don't want your stepmother's grandkids play-fighting for ceremonial crowns in the background. This isn't just about titles or honors. It's about setting boundaries. And for William, this may be his first quiet step toward defining his own reign, long before he officially gets the crown.
I think royal duty is extremely important. I think it's part of the fabric of what the royal family and any future monarch has, and it's something that...
Now, let's get to the part everyone's whispering about, the alleged altercation between Camilla's grandson and Prince George. According to palace insiders, and by insiders, we mean the people who actually know what goes on when the cameras stop rolling, things got tense during a private royal gathering. Picture this. The family had assembled for one of those classic royal weekends. You know, the kind where everyone pretends everything's fine, even though half the people in the room would rather be anywhere else. The kids were off in one of the palace playrooms, under the watchful eyes of royal nannies and staff.
And as we celebrate the man who waited decades to be a monarch, spare a thought for his grandson, 11-year-old Prince George.
But somewhere between the toy swords, football matches, and juice boxes, the mood shifted. Camilla's grandson, Freddie Parker Bowles, allegedly made a few remarks to Prince George. Some say it was just playful teasing. Others claim it crossed a line. One version of the story suggests Freddie joked about how his granny's queen now, and hinted that his side of the family was royalty too. That might sound harmless at first, kids being kids, but remember, this is the monarchy we're talking about. Titles and bloodlines aren't just family trivia, they're destiny. For Prince George, who's been raised with the weight of the crown already on his shoulders, this wasn't just schoolyard banter. According to people close to the Cambridges, the young prince felt genuinely upset, maybe even threatened. After all, he knows exactly who he is. He's been told since he was old enough to understand. One day, you will be king. So when someone, even a cousin-like figure, starts playing king, that's not a game. That's territorial encroachment. When word of the scuffle reached William and Kate, the reaction was swift, but measured. Kate reportedly went into full mama bear mode. Now, we're not saying she flipped tables or threw teacups. Kate's far too composed for that. But insiders say she pulled George aside, reassured him of his role, and made it clear that no one, not even Camilla's grandkids, gets to undermine his place in the royal family.
You're right. Well, absolutely.
William, on the other hand, took a different approach. He didn't blow up. That's not his style. But he did see this moment as a wake-up call. For months, the future king had been quietly watching Camilla expand her influence, not just in public, but within the family dynamic. Honors, titles, ceremonial gestures, it was starting to blur the lines. And now, with George coming home upset, that was the final straw. William reportedly went straight to King Charles for a private conversation. Some royal watchers believe this was when William politely, but firmly, requested that boundaries be reinstated. The message was clear: Dad, this has gone too far. And how did Charles react? Well, King Charles has always been a man of compromise, sometimes to his own detriment. But this time, insiders say he sided with William. Because as much as he loves Camilla, and make no mistake, he does, Charles knows where the line is drawn. The monarchy is built on succession, not step-family squabbles. So, quietly, changes were made. Camilla was reportedly told to pull back her family's involvement in royal ceremonies, and Freddie was gently reminded that titles aren't for play. At least, not when you're this close to the crown.
Oh, go on, have a go down the slide. Who's that? Yeah.
Now, as if the playroom scuffle wasn't enough, here's where things take a darker turn. Camilla's grandson allegedly made a remark about Princess Diana. According to whispers from behind palace walls, during the same incident where Freddie teased Prince George about who really runs the palace now, he reportedly crossed a line that left the room ice cold. Sources claim Freddie, perhaps emboldened by Camilla's new status as queen, mocked Diana in front of George. The comment? Something along the lines of, "My granny's queen, where's yours?" Now, let's be clear. Kids often don't grasp the weight of what they're saying. But for George, this wasn't just a mean-spirited jab. It was a direct hit to the heart. Princess Diana isn't just George's late grandmother. She's a central figure in his family's identity. Her memory is carefully preserved and honored in the Cambridge household. William and Kate have made sure of it. They've told George and his siblings about Granny Diana since they were little, keeping her spirit alive in bedtime stories and family moments.
It will do, give them a chance.
No, we're not finished yet.
So imagine the emotional blow when another child, especially one connected to Camilla, a woman whose name has long been entwined with Diana's legacy, makes that kind of remark. According to insiders, George was visibly shaken. And when he told his parents what happened, that's when things moved from family awkwardness to personal insults. For William and Kate, this wasn't just about royal protocol anymore. It was about protecting Diana's legacy and their son's emotional well-being. And for William, who has spent his life balancing grief, duty, and forgiveness,
What has impressed you most about her?
I think just the qualities that are essential for somebody in a leadership role.
This may have reopened old wounds that were never really healed. Now, after the alleged incident between Prince George and Freddie Parker Bowles, and especially after that cruel jab about Princess Diana, Prince William had reached his breaking point. For years, the future king had quietly tolerated Camilla's growing role within the monarchy. He had played the game, kept the peace, and even posed for family photos that made everything look picture perfect. But make no mistake, behind the smiles, there was always an invisible line. A line Camilla was never meant to cross. And the kids' misunderstanding brought everything to life. The moment George came home upset, rattled not just by a childish scuffle, but by a mockery of his late grandmother, William snapped into action. But here's where it gets interesting. He didn't go running to his father this time again. There was no polite conversation, no back-and-forth negotiation like they usually do when palace tensions rise. This time, William made his decision alone, of course, after consulting a few trusted royal aides. Sources say the Prince of Wales immediately pulled back certain ceremonial privileges Camilla had quietly taken under her wing since becoming queen consort. Over the past year, Camilla had been handed, or had taken, depending on who you ask, various soft power roles that blurred traditional royal lines. Some of these included small patronages, ceremonial family honors, and even the subtle right to assign duties to younger royals and their spouses during certain events.
Leave this ring, a symbol of royal dignity and a sign of the covenant sworn this day.
On paper, it all seemed harmless. But in practice, it allowed Camilla to insert her side of the family more deeply into royal life, giving them access to things typically reserved for the core Windsor bloodline. William had let it slide, until now. Following the incident with George, William immediately revoked Camilla's informal powers to assign roles or involve her family in royal engagements. He reportedly sent a direct message to the palace's private secretaries and senior staff. From this point forward, no ceremonial roles involving the next generation would include Camilla's relatives. Period. The fact that he didn't even consult King Charles was regarded as a move straight from the future king playbook. A quiet but forceful reminder that when it comes to the next generation of royals, George, Charlotte, and Louis, William is already running the show. Some insiders say this was the first time the Prince of Wales exercised this kind of autonomous power. He's always been careful, almost reluctant, to challenge his father openly. But this time, he felt he had no choice. His son had been hurt. His mother's memory had been disrespected. And Camilla's reach into royal affairs had, in William's eyes, gone too far. Remember, this wasn't a public scandal. There were no press releases or breaking news headlines about William's decision, but behind palace doors, the message was clear. To Camilla, stay in your lane. To the royal staff, there's a new guard coming and the rules are changing. And to King Charles? Well, that conversation reportedly came after the fact. Sources say Charles was blindsided when he heard about William's actions, but he didn't reverse them. Perhaps he knew he couldn't. After all, the monarchy is about legacy and succession, and William is the legacy now. He's the future king, and more importantly, he's the father of the king after that. Some royal watchers believe this was William's quiet way of setting the tone for his future reign, not with speeches or public declarations, but with action. Unapologetic, bold, and very much in control. And while Camilla may still wear the crown beside Charles, William just made it clear.
Waving to the thousands of people who are thronging the Mall, who have braved the rain and are here to witness an historic moment.
When it comes to the next generation of royals, the power belongs to him. As you can probably imagine, Camilla did not take this quietly. For years, she's fought tooth and nail to transform her public image. From the woman once vilified by the press, to the queen consort standing proudly beside Charles. It wasn't an easy climb. Camilla had weathered decades of scrutiny, whispers behind closed doors, and the icy stares of a public that, for a long time, simply refused to forgive. So, when William suddenly and unilaterally pulled back her ceremonial influence, insiders say Camilla felt blindsided and humiliated. According to sources close to the palace, the queen consort was furious, not just hurt, but genuinely outraged. From her perspective, she'd finally secured her rightful place in the royal family after years of being kept at arm's length. And now, her stepson had just clipped her wings. And the worst part? William didn't even soften the blow with a private chat or warning. He simply made the decision, called the staff, and that was it. For a family that prides itself on discretion and diplomacy, this was like setting off a firecracker in the drawing room. Camilla reportedly confronted Charles almost immediately. She wasn't just upset about losing ceremonial privileges, she was angry about what it symbolized.
And feeling that fear every single day. And then I suppose they think to themselves, well, maybe that there is a way out.
In her eyes, William's move wasn't just about protecting George or preserving tradition. It was a power play, plain and simple. And perhaps, in some ways, she's not wrong. Camilla has spent years trying to integrate her family into the royal inner circle. She believed that with Charles as king, there'd be room for her side of the family to share in the legacy. After all, if she were queen, didn't that make her grandkids royal adjacent too? But William's decision sent a loud, unmistakable message. This monarchy belongs to the direct heirs, not the step relatives. Insiders say Camilla was particularly rattled because the move wasn't just about her. It was about her grandchildren, specifically Freddie. To her, this felt like a personal rejection of her family.
A new royal family photo to mark the 70th birthday for Britain's Prince Charles.
A public reminder that no matter how high she's climbed, there's still a ceiling she can't break through. According to reports, Camilla pleaded with Charles to intervene, to reverse William's decision, or at least smooth things over. But the king? He didn't. Some say he chose to stay out of it, knowing that challenging William at this point would only make things worse. Others believe Charles quietly agreed with his son, recognizing that at the end of the day, the monarchy's survival depends on a clean line of succession. No step-family entanglements, no complications. Camilla, however, sees things differently. From her perspective, she's not trying to steal the crown. She's just trying to protect her family's place in the royal ecosystem. And to have it yanked away, especially after years of clawing her way into public acceptance, that's a blow she wasn't prepared for. Now, insiders say the atmosphere behind palace walls is tense, to put it mildly. Camilla has reportedly become more distant from William and Kate, and conversations between the two camps are said to be polite but icy. The queen consort may still smile for the cameras, but privately, she's furious, and perhaps more determined than ever to protect her family's influence, even if the crown says otherwise. But hang on, here's the twist no one in the palace saw coming. The public somehow found out. Royal moves like this are usually wrapped in layers of secrecy. They're handled quietly, behind the scenes, with palace aides spinning the story long before it ever reaches the press. But this time, details leaked, and fast.
You have been brought closer because of the circumstances as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, you are, uniquely bonded because of what we've been through.
Yeah.
Whispers of William's bold decision to reclaim royal control from Camilla, especially after the alleged fight between her grandson and Prince George, began circulating in private circles, then somehow trickled out into the public sphere. At first, it was just vague murmurs in royal forums and speculative headlines in niche tabloids. But within days, the story exploded online. Social media lit up with hashtags in support of little George, and suddenly, the world wasn't just watching. They were choosing sides. And guess who won the public sympathy card? Prince William and his family, by a landslide. People didn't see William's move as cold or calculated. They saw it as protective. A father stepping in to shield his son from palace politics. A husband honoring the memory of his late mother. And for many, this wasn't just about royal drama. It was about drawing the line between tradition and overreach. After all, the public has always had a soft spot for William and Kate. They are seen as the modern royals, the relatable ones who kneel down to talk to their kids at eye level, who take school drop-offs seriously, and who, despite the pomp and privilege, seem human. So, when the story broke that little George had been mocked about his grandmother, Princess Diana, and William responded by pulling back power from Camilla, people rallied behind him. There were even moments in public, on walkabouts, school visits, charity events, where crowds reportedly greeted William, Kate, and George like heroes. Shouts of, "We love you, George," and "Your mum would be proud, William," echoed from the sidelines. Some people even held up signs thanking William for protecting Diana's legacy. It wasn't just a royal PR win, it was a public coronation of sorts, long before William ever wears the actual crown. For the first time in a long time, the monarchy wasn't being slammed in the press. There were no headlines about scandal or overspending. This time, the royal headlines were about family loyalty, fatherhood, and standing up for the next generation. And for the public, especially those who had loved Princess Diana,
HIV does not make people dangerous to know. So you can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it.
this wasn't just palace gossip, it was personal. Many people still remember the way Diana was treated by the firm, how she struggled under the weight of royal life, and how her tragic death left the nation heartbroken.
Shocking allegations about Princess Diana's death. Authorities now reviewing the new and sensational claim that she was actually murdered by the British government.
So, when they heard about George being teased about, "Where's your granny now?" it struck a nerve. To them, William wasn't just acting as the Prince of Wales. He was acting as Diana's son, protecting her legacy and his own children at the same time. The palace, of course, has remained tight-lipped. No official statement has been made about the altercation or William's decision to reel in Camilla's powers. But behind the scenes, they're well aware that the public sentiment has shifted heavily in William's favor. Even King Charles, who usually commands the spotlight, has reportedly taken a back seat in this moment, allowing William to quietly step forward and embrace his role as the protector of the crown and his family. And now the question is, where does all of this leave the royal family now? What started as a childhood spat between Prince George and Camilla's grandson has turned into something much bigger, a power shift inside the House of Windsor. William's bold decision to reclaim royal authority from Camilla, without even consulting King Charles first, wasn't just a reaction to a playground incident. It was a statement of intent. It showed the world and the palace that he's ready to step into a leadership role, not years from now, but right now. For the first time, the lines are clear. When it comes to the monarchy's future, William isn't just the heir waiting in the wings. He's actively shaping the next chapter. But this isn't just about titles or ceremonial ribbons. It's about defining what the monarchy will look like in the decades to come. The British royal family is standing at a crossroads. On one side, there's the old guard, heavy on tradition, rigid in hierarchy, sometimes tangled in complicated personal relationships.
I shall do my best to go on investing in the future of this remarkable country. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
On the other side, a newer, more streamlined royal vision that William seems determined to build. One focused strictly on the direct line of succession: George, Charlotte, and Louis. No side branches, no step-relatives influencing royal duties. In many ways, William's move was about protecting the crown from dilution. He knows the monarchy's survival depends on staying relevant, but also staying focused. If the public starts to see the royal family as just another blended family fighting over roles at the dinner table, the mystique of the institution begins to crumble. And William isn't about to let that happen. Not on his watch. Going forward, expect to see more boundaries between the core royals and extended relatives. William and Kate will likely continue to center their family, George in particular, as the face of the monarchy's future. That means fewer ceremonial roles for Camilla's grandchildren, fewer quiet favors handed out behind palace doors, and a sharper focus on legacy and succession. King Charles, for now, seems to be allowing this shift to unfold. Perhaps he realizes that, at 76, his reign is more about transition than transformation. He may hold the crown, but it's William who's now commanding the narrative. As for Camilla, she'll likely continue performing her public duties alongside Charles, but her influence behind the scenes has undoubtedly taken a hit. The Queen Consort may smile for the cameras, but the recent events have reportedly left her bruised and cautious, especially when it comes to involving her family in royal affairs. She's learned the hard way that there are limits, even for queens. The public, meanwhile, is watching all of this unfold with renewed fascination. For once, the headlines aren't about scandals or political controversies. They're about a father protecting his son, a prince defending his late mother's memory, and a future king stepping into his role with quiet but firm authority. The royal family's next challenge? Keeping this newfound goodwill intact. Because the public has spoken, they've chosen sides. And right now, they're rooting for William, Kate, and their children. They see them as the monarchy's future, the living link between Princess Diana's compassionate legacy and a more modern royal era. But with that support comes pressure. The expectations are sky-high. People don't just want ceremonial parades and balcony waves anymore. They want authenticity, stability, and above all, they want a monarchy that feels both human and honorable, one that protects its future kings from palace politics, no matter how small the spark that lights the fire. So, what's next? For the royal family, the message is clear. The crown may be centuries old, but its future, that starts now. Do you think Prince William's changes will destabilize the royal house? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's it from us today. Until next time, thank you for watching.